Brudiclad Telchor Engineer versus Lord Windgrace. And we have a little bit of ramp, not as much as I would like, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, 4 lands and a Mind Stone. And then we can start throwing out tokens, and Vizier of Many Faces is one means of doing that. We'll go in for probably a Steam Vent with the Flooded Strand. Okay, I didn't think I had F6 through there, but apparently I did. Okay, we'll just go for our Volcanic Island instead. We are more likely to get into another fetch land than we are into the Steam Vents itself. We'll go for an island, get into the Mind Stone and pass it over to our opponent. Lord Windgrace is a Jund commander, 5 loyalty, 5 mana. 2 is discard and draw. If you discard a land, you draw 2. And then you can reanimate 2 lands, and then -11, destroy up to 6 non-land permanents, and get 6 2/2 Forest Walking Cats. I think here we just go for Whirler Rogue. Yeah, we'll go for Whirler Rogue. And we'll get some Thopters into play with that, and pass it back over to our opponent. The more Thopters and tokens, the better. Brudiclad Telchor Engineer is it 6 mana, 4/4. Tokens we control have haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you get a 2/1 mere artifact token, and then you can have your tokens become a copy of a token you control. Pernicious Deed can just get rid of all of our tokens, so why don't we'll swing in first and see if our opponent wants to sack the Pernicious Deed. They don't. They might get down. We'll just go for Trinket Mage, and we'll get into a Sol Ring. I was contemplating Kiki Jiki onto the Whirler Rogue there, but they might just hold out with the Pernicious Deed and wait for it to blow everything up. We can get a tap land in with the Misty Rainforest. Not going to get down the Sol Ring just for it to get blown up by Pernicious Deed. Bajuka Bog comes down and exiles our graveyard. We don't have any graveyard shenanigans in this deck, I don't think. This is the problem. When you play so many different decks, you sometimes forget how each one exactly runs. I'm pretty sure we don't have any graveyard recursion in this deck. Flame Tongue Karvu comes down and deals 4 damage to a target creature. I think we're okay to try and force our opponent to get rid of the tokens here with the Pernicious Deed. We will turn all of the tokens into mirrors just to get more damage into play. And then we'll swing in with everything. They can save themselves 6 life here, or 8 life if they want to get rid of Trinket Mage as well. They don't have the mana to get rid of Whirler Rogue. They do next turn. Alright, just going for a block there with the Treetop Village. And another mana for our opponent. Yeah, so they can wipe out everything except Brudiclad here. We will gain a life with Inventor's Fair. I'm not in too much of a hurry to get down Kiki Jiki, because I think what I might do actually is try and get our opponent to animate Treetop Village. And then we can Flame Tongue Karvu Treetop Village, or are they just going to go for Pernicious Deed now? They certainly are, so we might as well crack the Mind Stone and draw a card. Get into a land for the turn, that's good. And then we'll swing in with our Brudiclad. And they're not going to block with Treetop Village this time, which is unfortunate. Let's go in for Sol Ring. and Felwar Stone and our land for the turn. Yeah, I think we're okay at that. We'll just hold on to these cards in hand. There's nothing else we can really do with them. Down comes Lord Windgrace himself. And yeah, just going for card draw, so I assume our opponent is going for some answers here. We gain a life from the Inventor's Fair, and this is 4 tap and sack. Search for an artifact. Rite of Replication. Unfortunately, Flametongue Karvu has to deal the 4 damage to a creature, so we are going to struggle there. And we also have, we usually have more things to make copies of. I'm just going to crack the Inventor's Fair, I think, just because I want to actually get into something this turn. Now, what it is, I don't really know what I want to get into exactly. Yeah, we could go for Solemn Simulacrum. It's not the greatest, but it's something that I don't mind getting copies of. It also helps ramp us a little bit more. We'll get a basic mountain into play and then swing in at our opponent. No, we're not going to make copies of anything there. And we'll swing everything in at our opponent directly. And we're at a point now where our opponent pretty much needs to get something done right now. Well, Vampiric Tutor will do it for them. Maybe a Toxic Deluge or something like that. Noticeable that our opponent got Anger into the graveyard. I didn't notice that before. So all their creatures will have haste now. 5 cards in our opponent's hand. And most likely seeing a board wipe here. Although 2 red. Chain Reaction maybe? No, Fiery Confluence. Yeah, they're going after our mana. So I'm glad we went after the Solemn Simulacrum now. And they haven't dealt with our creatures, which is curious. We get into even more mana, which is really good for us. Let's see if our opponent can deal. Yeah, I'm not sure what our opponent was really thinking there. I'm sure that they could have tutored for a Damnation or a Toxic Deluge or something like that, but hell, maybe they don't run those cards. So that is a win for Lord Windgrace. What I was going to do there is go for Kiki Jiki and get a copy of the Solemn Simulacrum out and then swing in for 6 points of damage. And then we would have got a card draw from the Solemn Simulacrum, which perhaps would have been a Fated Infatuation. More means of creating tokens, but there we go. That is Brudiclad, Telchor Engineer versus Lord Windgrace. Hope you all enjoyed that one, and I will see you all in the next one. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.